Thanksgiving betrayal. My mom invited everyone but me, until I uncovered the dark secret. The smell of roasted turkey wafted through the air, thick and savory, mingling with laughter and cheerful chatter. But in the midst of it all, Jenna sat alone in her darkened room, her heart pounding like a bass drum in a quiet night. Every year, Thanksgiving brought warmth, family, and enough food to feed an army. This year, it felt like a dagger to the chest. Her mom had invited everyone from the neighbors to her mother's best friends, but not her. Why? The question twisted inside Jenna like a knife, each turn more painful than the last. It was like some twisted game was afoot. In the tiny town of Millbrook, secrets hid behind every door, but this one felt darker, more sinister. Was there something Jenna didn't know? Maybe it was that strange argument she heard between her parents last week. Shouting, the kind that sent icy chills down her spine. Words like disgrace and shame echoed in her ears, leaving her confused and scared. Her hands trembled as she replayed that moment in her mind, her mom's face contorted with anger, her dad shaking his head in disappointment. As night fell, the darkness wrapping around the house felt suffocating. She could hear the clatter of dishes and laughter spilling from the kitchen like a cruel reminder of her exclusion. Did they all know something she didn't? Jenna's pulse quickened. The house felt alive, vibrating with energy and a sharp tension that made her skin crawl. She slid off her bed, heart racing, feeling drawn as if by some invisible force toward that warm light flickering from the dining room. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. With each step she took down the hall, the laughter grew louder, mixing with sharp pangs of resentment. What was happening in there? Jenna peered through a small crack in the door. There they were, her relatives, seated at the table, silverware glinting under the warm glow. But there was something off, a strange tension thickened the air. They weren't just enjoying dinner, they were whispering, glancing at her empty chair as if it were a ghost haunting the moment. The lump in her throat grew heavier as she strained to catch snippets of their conversation. Words like shocking, truth, and lost floated through the air, twisting the knife deeper into her gut. A sudden chill ran down her spine. What kind of truth were they hiding? It was then, in the beat of a heartbeat, that Jenna understood one thing. Something dark was buried beneath their laughter, a secret alive and clawing to break free, and it was time for her to dig deeper. As she backed away from the door, adrenaline surged through her veins. She had to find out what was happening, and she had to do it now. What lay ahead was uncertain, but Jenna could feel it in her bones. Whatever the truth was, it could change everything. Jenna's breath caught in her throat as she backed away from the door, her heart racing with urgency. She needed answers, and the only way to find them was to confront the shadows lurking in her family's lies. A sudden resolve filled her, the kind that cuts through fear like a hot knife through butter. Quietly, she slipped out of her room and tiptoed down the hallway, the floorboards creaking softly beneath her weight. The closer she got to the kitchen, the more suffocating the air felt, heavy with secrets and unspoken dread. Reaching the doorway, she paused, clutching the frame to steady herself. The flickering light illuminated her relatives' faces, those familiar yet distant features now twisted with something ominous. "Is it even possible?" she heard her uncle's voice say, low and hesitant, fragmentation hanging like mist in the air. "What if she finds out before we're ready?" Jenna's blood ran cold. The hesitation in his tone twisted her insides. What was she not supposed to find out? Nausea bubbled in her stomach as she leaned in closer, straining to hear every whispered detail. "She doesn't deserve to know the truth," her mother's voice pierced through the murmurs, strong and authoritative. "Not yet. It'll ruin her." Ruin her? The words shivered across Jenna's skin like a cold breeze. What truth could possibly result in her mother wanting to shield her from it? She gripped the doorway tighter, her knuckles turning white. The images danced like ghosts in her mind: the last family gathering, the smiles masking dismay, the facade of a perfect Thanksgiving dinner. An unexpected laugh broke through her thoughts. It belonged to her cousin, but it sounded hollow, almost maniacal. How could you both think it keeps her safe? Isn't it worse to hide it from her? The laughter faded, replaced by the sharpness of cold reality. Jenna felt her chest tighten, each heartbeat thunderous in her ears. She couldn't let them continue to conspire against her. It was her life, her identity at stake. What were they hiding? She took a deep breath, steeling herself for whatever lay ahead. Quietly, she crept further, sliding behind the corner of the wall, where she could be a witness without being seen. A moment passed, filled with muted conversations and the scratching of forks against plates that sounded ominous in the silence. But just as she thought she'd heard enough, the conversation changed. We should have told her sooner. She deserves to know she's not. The voice cut off abruptly, and Jenna's heart stopped. Not what? Tension hung thick in the air, a tangible force that made it hard to think. Just then, her mother glanced nervously toward the door. Panic seized Jenna. They couldn't discover her eavesdropping. She silently stepped back, her mind racing. She needed a plan, a way to get to the bottom of this buried secret, but as she turned to make her escape, she heard a different voice, one she recognized immediately: her father. We can't keep this from her forever. If she finds out by accident, it'll destroy her, he said, and for the first time, there was a tremor of fear in his voice. Destroy her? What could possibly warrant fear? Jenna felt her throat tighten, the weight of uncertainty crashing down upon her like a tidal wave. She had to confront them. But that jump from shadow to light could reveal more than she bargained for. Gathering all her courage, she squared her shoulders, her pulse racing as she took a deep breath and stepped out from behind the wall. But just as she was about to make her presence known, the door swung open. What happened next would change everything. As Jenna's eyes locked with her mother's, the truth hung in the air, electric and fragile. Would it shatter her family, or could it just be the start of her fight for the truth? Jenna froze, the sudden rush of cold air from the open door hitting her like a slap. Her mother's eyes widened, flooding with a mixture of surprise and fear. The rest of the family followed suit, each face morphing into an unsettling blend of panic and shame. Jenna. Her mother's voice rose sharply, the tone freezing any defiance that had been building inside her. It was a warning, an attempt to shove the truth back into the shadows, but it was too late. Jenna swallowed hard, her heartbeat pounding in her ears like a war drum. I heard you, she stammered, each word feeling like an explosion in the stillness. What are you hiding from me? The room fell deathly silent, the clink of forks halted in an eerie tableau, every eye now trained on her like a predator sizing up its prey. Her uncle shifted nervously, fidgeting with his glass, avoiding Jenna's desperate gaze. Jenna, sweetheart, it's not what you think, he began, but his words fell flat in the heavy atmosphere. It's about your father, her mother cut in, desperation lacing her voice. We didn't want to burden you with this just yet. Burden? Not telling me the truth is what's burdening me. Jenna cried, her voice trembling with emotion. What truth? What about my father? Jenna, her father stepped forward, his expression grave. Your mother is right. This isn't just family business. It could change everything you think you know about your life. As those words hung in the air, Jenna felt her knees buckle slightly. She wanted to scream, to force them to reveal everything, but instead, dread settled in her stomach like a stone. Just tell me, she demanded, her voice calmer but ready to crack. Am I even who I thought I was? What is the secret you're all so terrified of? The room felt brutal in its silence, only the quiet tick of the kitchen clock punctuating their hesitation. Jenna's eyes darted between her parents, desperation clawing at her heart. A new voice cut through the tension, a soft whisper from the back of the room: her cousin. You have every right to know, Jenna. Her cousin's calmness was unnerving. What is the worst that can happen? When the lies finally unravel, they hurt more than the truth ever could. Enough. snapped her mother, her voice uncharacteristically sharp. This isn't a game. Some truths should remain buried. But I don't want to live in a lie. Jenna replied, tears brimming in her eyes, the fight in her fading. You're all my family, and you're keeping me from knowing about my father. Don't you dare bring him into this, her mother hissed, her hands trembling as she pointed towards Jenna. The clash shook Jenna to her core, and she realized how deep the pit of secrets ran. Just as she thought things couldn't get worse, her phone buzzed in her pocket, slicing through the tension like a knife. She hesitated, glancing at the screen to see a message from an unknown number. You're closer to the truth than you think. Don't let them silence you. Her heart jolted as the frightful implications of the message sank in. It wasn't just her family trying to protect her. There was more at play, and the very foundations of her existence felt ready to crumble beneath her. Who sent that? She shrieked, eyes darting. They all looked just as lost and terrified. The room swirled, the weight of unanswered questions pressing down on her. What does it mean? She thought desperately, grasping for clarity. But in that moment, the truth felt impossibly far away, a ghost lingering just out of reach. As the metallic taste of fear filled her mouth, Jenna stood at the precipice. One final step forward might lead her to salvation or absolute ruin. This was not just a family secret, it was her life unraveling. In the midst of heated voices and fierce glances, Jenna made a choice. She wouldn't go down without fighting. Tell me the truth, or I'll uncover it myself, she declared, the resolve surging back. Her eyes were alight with determination, but uncertainty bubbled violently beneath her skin. But as she prepared for a battle that could tear her family apart, she stood ignorant of the darker forces at play, and yet, she was about to find out just how deep those shadows ran. Would she emerge unbroken, or was she already too far gone? Jenna's demand hung in the air, thick and clammy like fog, the confrontation igniting an unbearable tension. She could see tightness around her mother's mouth. The resolve that once seemed so strong now quivered on the edge of collapse. Her father's expression darkened, as though he'd even delivered an unexpected blow. I can't, her mother finally whispered, voice cracking like dry wood. You're not ready for this. Then make me ready, Jenna fired back, her heart racing, pounding like a war drum in her chest. She wanted nothing more than to shake the truth out of them, to unravel the secrets that bound her family in silence. Her cousin stepped in, taking a breath as if preparing to plunge into icy waters. Maybe it's time for all of us. The plea in her cousin's voice was tangible, a fragile thread fraying under the weight of unspoken truths. Jenna glanced at her family, searching their faces for a hint of reassurance, but all she found were mirrors reflecting her own dread. The smell of roasted turkey, once inviting, suddenly felt suffocating, poisoning the air with unending tension. Do you really think you can hold on to this secret forever? She pressed when her phone buzzed again, startling her out of the thick atmosphere. The screen cast an eerie glow. They're afraid of what you'll find. Trust nothing. Not even them. Who is that? Jenna shouted, an edge of panic sharpening her voice. All eyes grew wide, but for her mother, the tension swelled into something darker. Put the phone down, Jenna. This isn't a game. You have no idea what you're inviting in. Sounds like a pretty excellent game, Jenna scoffed, and maybe you're the one who doesn't know what's out there. The walls began to feel like they were closing in, reality shifting beneath her as the words tumbled out. Enough, slammed her father, the force of his voice vibrating through Jenna. I won't let you do this. Do what? She shot back, arms folding defiantly across her chest. A flurry of emotions stormed within, questions buzzing around like angry hornets. How could they stand there and deny her the truth? You need to get over yourselves. I deserve to know. Suddenly, the kitchen door swung open, and a chilling wind swept through the room, as if the house itself was rejecting the confrontation. A shadow lurked at the doorway, a figure cloaked in darkness, barely visible through the dim light. Who are you? Jenna's voice trembled, uncertainty bubbling to the surface as the figure stepped closer into the room. The resemblance felt familiar, yet wrong, like an image that had been distorted. Jenna? The figure asked, voice raspy and uncertain, piercing the cacophony of emotions for just a moment. A bomb waiting to explode among the family. Her heart dropped. What do you want? Are you ready to hear the truth? Before Jenna could respond, a cacophony of gasps erupted around her. Every face reflected the same horror. Her family was as shocked by the newcomer as she was, betraying the impenetrable fortress they deconstructed around their secrets. Please just leave. Her mother begged, tightening her grip on the countertop, knuckles whitening in a clear display of fear. You don't belong here. But with that, Jenna felt something shift within her, an unfamiliar sharp edge emerging. No. No more running, no more hiding. I need to know. The ghostly figure stepped forward, and in that instant, Jenna braced herself. The storm inside her was nothing compared to the tempest that this stranger might stir. As the silence stretched, filled with anticipation, the pressure thickening like molasses, Jenna could only hope that they were ready for whatever was unleashed next. Jenna, the figure urged, eyes glistening like stars in the dark. Everything you think you know could shatter in a heartbeat. Are you prepared for what comes after? And as the walls closed in tighter, Jenna realized that perhaps the scariest truths are the ones you don't see coming at all. What had she truly invited into her life by demanding answers? The silence stretched, each heartbeat thundering in Jenna's ears. The figure moved closer, revealing dark eyes that held a mixture of sorrow and urgency. It looked almost like a shard of glass reflecting memories Jenna couldn't remember. She wanted to look away, to retreat into the safety of what she understood. But cowardice felt far scarier than facing the truth. Who are you? She repeated, gripping the edge of the table as her world wobbled. Your past, the figure replied, voice rife with anguish. And your future if you let it. The atmosphere thickened. Jenna's breath caught. Pieces were starting to fit together in a way she didn't want to confront. What do you mean? Her mother moved as if to shield Jenna, eyes like a storm, blazing with protectiveness. You don't have to do this. You don't have to listen to him. Why not? Jenna countered, the tremor in her voice quickly replaced by steeliness. Because he's telling the truth? The figure nodded once, slow and painful. You don't know how many lies have been woven into the fabric of your family. Lies that will change everything you believe. As it spoke, shadows curled menacingly in the corners of the room, almost alive, as if they were drawn to the energy unfolding. She could feel it tightening around them, almost choking out the sunlight that spilled into the kitchen. What are you saying? Jenna pressed, desperation leaking into her tone. She felt the weight of her family's gazes on her, disbelief and fear seeping through the air like smoke. Your mother's fear is justified, the figure continued. Because it's not just about you. It never was. The secrets aren't just about who we are, but about what has been done for generations. Stop. Her mother cried, shaking her head fiercely as if she could physically erase the words from existence. But Jenna couldn't help it. What's so horrible that you can't want to tell me? Jenna, her father interjected, his voice like a plea slipping through cracking ice. We have protected you for this long. You have to trust that there are things too dangerous for you to know. Dangerous. The word hung in the air, thick with implications. Jenna's heart raced as she wrestled with every instinct that screamed to back down. He's telling you to trust the same people who deceived you. The figure's voice softened. The choice is yours, Jenna. Continue down this path of ignorance, or step into the truth however painful. Jenna fought to swallow the lump in her throat. Could she bear the truth? Her mind flashed to the strange messages on her phone. They felt woven with warnings, secrets waiting to unravel. Will it hurt? She murmured, half to herself. Yes, the figure answered, and Jenna felt as if it were laying a heavy, cold hand on her shoulder. But the hurt of truth is far less than the hurt of blind faith in lies. A tremor shook her. It felt like standing on the edge of a ravine, the abyss looming below, calling her name. Mom. She turned, eyes pleading, searching for reassurance. Why wouldn't you just tell me? Because, her mother gasped, voice trembling, some secrets, Jenna, can destroy everything worse than any truth. But the revelation was upon her like a tidal wave, edging closer. She felt torn between loyalty to her family and an insatiable need to understand her own identity. "Are you ready?" The figure asked softly, the weight of its gaze penetrating her resolve. Jenna's pulse thudded in her ears. Could she let go of everything she thought she knew? Suddenly, her phone buzzed again, jarring the tension. "Get out!" her father roared, snapping like a wound coil. The air shifted, heavy with dread. "You do not belong here." "Or do I?" The figure challenged, unwavering. And as Jenna's heart thundered in her chest, she felt a single thought break through. Maybe the answers lay in this chaos, wrapped in shadows that called for her. Were the secrets buried so deep that they could explode her world in an instant, or was the real danger in staying silent? With every ounce of courage she could muster, she took a step forward, ready to confront whatever darkness lay ahead. What if the truth wasn't just a revelation but a reckoning? As Jenna moved closer, the figure's presence filled the room like a dense fog. The weight of unspoken words settled over her like an ominous blanket. Her decision hung in the balance, suspended between acknowledgement and denial, but there was something in the way the figure held her gaze that pushed her forward. "Tell me everything," she breathed, desperation sharpening her voice. The figure flinched, eyes clouded with raw anguish as it began to speak, its words weaving through the thick air like smoke. "There's a dark thread that runs through your family's past. It ties back to shadows you can't see, the kind that lurk in memories you've never experienced." Her mother's expression shifted to a mask of terror. "Jenna, stop. You don't want to know." Ignoring the plea, Jenna's heart hammered loudly. "Why? Why can't I know?" "Because your life, my life, it was all bound by a choice, one made long before you were born. The choice to protect you from the truth," the figure continued, voice low and unsteady. It reached toward Jenna with trembling hands. "But we're running out of time." "Running out of time? For what?" Jenna's pulse quickened. An uneasy chill wriggled down her spine, burrowing deeper with each moment. "Don't listen to him." Her father's voice cracked like glass. He stepped closer, desperation leaking through the fissures of his facade. "Your safety is our priority. Trust us." "Trust you?" Jenna snapped, her voice sharper now. "How can I trust anything you say when you've kept me in the dark?" In that instant, Jenna's phone vibrated with relentless urgency, pulling her back into the chaos of the present. She glanced down, heart leaping into her throat at the string of messages flashing across the screen. "Jenna, you need to leave now." Each word felt etched in fire. "Listen to the messages, Jenna. They're warning you," the figure urged, desperation now mingling with familiarity. Conflicts clawed at her, the urge to flee mixed with an insatiable curiosity that spurred her forward. "Why should I leave? What have I done?" "Because you're in danger. There are those who will stop at nothing to keep the truth buried. Your family's secrets run deeper than you can imagine," it said, each syllable cutting through the oppressive darkness. Jenna's fingers trembled against the screen as she processed the unfolding scene. Her mother's stillness, her father's strained demeanor, the ominous figure standing before her, it all felt like a surreal fiction, too surreal for a reality. "What kind of danger?" she dared to ask, voice cracking under the weight of fear. "Not just threats from outside," the figure said, gaze piercing through her, "but betrayal from within." Every instinct screamed for Jenna to retreat, yet something deeper urged her to stand firm. She caught her mother's eyes, searching for a crack in the facade. "What happened? Why this warning?" The questions spilled out of her, each laced in urgency. The figure locked eyes with her mother, who seemed to wither under the weight of unspoken truths. Finally, with a shuddering breath, Jenna's mother whispered, "You don't know what you're putting yourself into." "I'll take that risk," Jenna countered, voice potent with determination. "Whatever it is, I won't back down." Suddenly, her phone rang violently, and she answered without thinking. "Who is this?" she asked, barely keeping panic at bay. A frantic voice rushed through the line. "Get out of there. They're coming for you, run." The connection abruptly cut off, leaving Jenna standing in the dim light, her heart racing. Shadows shifted in the corners, feeling alive. "Jenna, you have to," her father began, but the tension in the room snapped like brittle thread. "No." Jenna shouted, adrenaline surging through her veins. I refuse to live in the dark. If danger is coming, I'm facing it head-on. The figure's dark eyes glimmered with a flicker of hope and dread. Then you need to know everything before it's too late. Her resolve hardened into something unbreakable as she faced the specter of her family's truth. I'm ready, she said, fists clenched. Tell me what you can. But as the figure began to speak, a loud crash shattered the stillness outside. It echoed through the walls, vibrating deep in Jenna's bones. The air shifted again, charged with a new tension, and in that moment, she realized the reckoning was no longer a choice. It had begun. What awaited her at the threshold of truth, and would she survive its aftermath? The air felt electric as Jenna registered the sudden crash outside. Her heartbeat quickened, pulsing in her ears, drowning out the figure's words. Shadows danced violently at the window, and for an instant, she feared the darkness might swallow her whole. What was that? Her voice trembled, a mix of terror and curiosity. Jenna, we have to move now. The urgency in her father's tone shattered her growing resolve. He darted to the window, peering through the curtains that fluttered in a nervous breeze. It's not safe here. No, wait, she implored, instinctively taking a single step back. You can't just leave me. Not until I understand what's going on. The figure loomed larger now, its presence refusing to be dismissed. What you're standing on is a precipice of secrets, Jenna. When this door closes, you may not get another chance. It took a step closer, time stretching between them like a taut string ready to snap. Mom? Dad? She called, glancing between them. Her mother's face had drained of color, while her father's eyes darted nervously. You both know something that could destroy us. Jenna, please, her father's voice hardened, desperate to shield her from the truth. This is not a game. Then tell me how it's been for you. How long have you been lying? Suddenly, the glass in the window shattered, an icy wind sweeping through the room, sending a chill down her spine. Jenna gasped, instinctively covering her head as shards rained around her. The figure flickered, the truth teetering on the edge of revelation. Jenna, run! Her mother shrieked, panic-laced. They're here! The figure shouted, urgency surging through its voice like a tide. Jenna's heart raced as she caught a glimpse of dark silhouettes outside. Just beyond the streetlight, figures were creeping closer, their intentions cloaked in malice. Fear constricted her throat. Leave now, Jenna. The desperation in her father's command was palpable. He lunged toward the door, urgency consuming him. No, I'm not running away again, not this time, she shouted, her voice cracking under the weight of resistance. I'm tired of being sheltered. With a collective instinct, her parents ignored her stand, rushing toward the back door. The figure's presence surged beside her, a tangible thing of desperation. If you stay, you will invite the darkness in. Then let it come. Jenna screamed, fueled by the realization that the anguish they had kept at bay was here. Now. And she was no longer willing to hide. Her mother and father had reached the door, fingers fumbling with the lock. The figure turned to Jenna, compelling her to listen one last time. What you'll discover will change everything, it warned, voice trembling, but the warning was drowned out by her father's frantic plea. Jenna, you have to trust us. Get out while you can. No, no more denials, she yelled, the room thick with tension. The weight of uncertainty hung heavily as every moment stretched painfully. Shadows outside began to swirl, then she heard a voice, clearer now, filtering through chaos, her own thoughts igniting into a blaze of rebellion. You've kept me in the dark. I have my life be dictated by your fears? No more. I'll choose my own path. With a sudden surge of defiance, she surged forward, not retreating into the shadows, but stepping into the unknown. But the door crashed open, and darkness poured in like a tempest. Jenna gasped, trembling hands raised against the encroaching chaos. Moments later, she found herself face to face with a figure cloaked in shadow, eyes glinting like polished steel. You've drawn us here, Jenna, it hissed, voice deep and resonant. And we've come for the truth. As Jenna stood frozen, heart hammering in her chest, She realized this wasn't just about family secrets. It was about surviving the reckoning that threatened to uproot everything she thought she knew. Her breath caught as she faced the looming figure. Who were they? And what did they want with her? The stakes were higher than she ever imagined. The darkness wouldn't let her go without a fight. What other secrets lay waiting to be unearthed? And would she endure the storm that would inevitably follow? The darkness roared and surged around Jenna, the air thick with suffocating dread. The figure's voice resonated, deep and menacing, echoing in the depths of her mind. "We've come for the truth," it repeated, each word like a hammer striking her resolve. A wave of terror swept through her, but it was paired with a fierce surge of determination. "What truth?" Jenna shot back, her voice steadier than she felt. "What do you want from me?" The figure shifted, the shadows swirling like smoke around it and pooling at its feet. "What you carry inside you, the burden of knowledge. It needs to be unleashed." Her parents stood frozen, paralyzed by fear. Jenna glanced at them, searching their faces for reassurance, but found only icy dread staring back. "They're wrong," she whispered, her breath short and rapid, fueling the fire of defiance within her. "You don't own me. I will find my own truth." The figure's glinting eyes narrowed. "Is that so? You think your strength can withstand the secrets embedded in your blood?" Suddenly, a blinding light pierced through the storm of darkness. It flickered like a small candle, rimming the figure in luminescence. The flush of warmth swept over Jenna, grounding her momentarily. But the shadows bunched and swallowed the light whole. "Leave her alone," her father shouted, stepping forward with a protective intensity that was both possessive and desperate. "You don't have any claim over her. We will protect her." Jenna felt the tingling warmth of her father's love, but it didn't shield her from the threat spilling into their home. "Do you think that connection can save her?" The figure sneered, a sharp, disdainful laugh escaping shadowed lips. "When she finds out what was done to safeguard her existence, she'll shatter into pieces." "Shut up," Jenna screamed, the growing rage fueling her. "You're just a parasite, feeding off our fears." In that instant, something shifted in the air. The figure recoiled, the shadows flickering like dying flames. Jenna could feel the pulse of her heart matching the tension in the room, a steady beat that surged with rebellion. She stepped forward, each stride defying the darkness. "You will not take me. I will find the truth, and I will face it." Her resolve fractured the cold grip of dread. Yet even as she proclaimed her strength, a part of her quivered, wondering what horror lay waiting in the dark. "What do you think the truth is?" The figure hissed, its voice a chilling whisper that slithered through the air. "You want to uncover what has been buried for years? You'd rather stand in the eye of the storm?" "Whatever it is, I'll deal with it," she shot back, heart racing. Her gaze shifted to her parents, refusing to let their terror extinguish the flame kindling in her. "No more hiding. No more secrets." Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the back of the house, reverberating through the walls and blending with her pounding heart. The shadows seemed to lean closer, eager for the chaos yet to unfold. Jenna's skin prickled with fear. Who else is here?" "Those who know, who have been waiting." The figure's voice faded into a soft hum, and Jenna's mind raced. Visions of her childhood, memories wrapped in oblivion, struck her hard. What had they kept from her? Then something stirred outside, a chilling howl of the wind, followed by footsteps. They were coming, creeping ever closer. Jenna clenched her fists, pushing through her fear. "If the truth comes for me, then bring it on. I will meet it head on." And just as she steeled herself for the coming storm, the door behind her burst open again, revealing a group of shadowy figures. Their voices were muffled, yet fear dripped palpable from them. "Jenna, you have to listen." One called out, their eyes reflecting the same glint but far more desperate. "You don't understand what you're up against." Desperation clutched at her throat. Who could she trust in this chaos? Shadows roiled around her, animating memories and secrets woven deep within. Questions surged through Jenna's mind as the chilling reality closed in. What was the truth? And could she ever find the strength to embrace it? The room quaked under the weight of those unanswered questions, and Jenna stood at the center, ready to charge into the unknown. But another crash sounded, a more profound danger lurking just behind the door. Would she have the courage to confront that terror when it emerged? As Jenna faced the encroaching darkness, knowing that choices lay ahead, she could only wonder, what would they reveal when the truth finally unraveled? The figures loomed in the doorway, their silhouettes flickering like flames against the backdrop of suffocating shadows. Jenna's heart raced, each beat a deafening drum, drowning out her thoughts. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice trembling yet defiant. "Jenna, please." The closest figure, a woman with wild hair and haunted eyes, stepped forward. "You don't understand what's at stake. Stay back," her father shouted, arms outstretched protectively. He glared at the intruders, his fierce love igniting a flicker of hope amid the chaos. "I won't let them hurt you," he continued, his voice thick with urgency. Jenna's resolve wavered for a moment, caught between her father's protective embrace and the wild urgency of the unknown. She felt the cold tendrils of fear creep closer, but the fire within ignited. "What do you mean, stakes? What truth are you all talking about?" The dark figure in the doorway tilted its head, eyes glinting like shards of glass. "The truth about your origins, Jenna. It's why you can feel the shadows, why they're drawn to you." The words hung in the air, heavy as lead. "Enough of this." Jenna's voice rang out, clear and unwavering. "If anyone is going to unravel whatever mess this is, it's going to be me." The woman stepped forward again, and Jenna could see the desperation etched on her face. "You don't understand what you seek has consequences. If you don't tread carefully, you could unleash something far worse than you can imagine." Another crash echoed from deep within the house, this one more terrifying than the last. Jenna's stomach twisted, a deep, satisfied growl reverberated from the dark hall. It felt alive, hungry. The shadows rippled, twisted shapes snaking along the walls, more alive, more menacing. Panic surged in her chest, but determination anchored her. "You think I'm scared of shadows? Tell me what I need to do." The figures exchanged glances, a silent conversation woven with tension. "You already know, Jenna," the woman said softly, her voice barely a whisper. "You have the power to make it right. But only if you're willing to embrace the truth. No more riddles." Jenna snapped. "What truth?" Suddenly, the room lurched violently, and Jenna stumbled backward as the air seemed to warp around her. She gasped, trying to steady herself. The shadows lunged forward, thick and oppressive, rippling across the room like a wave crashing against the shore. "Breathe, Jenna," her mother cried out, breaking free from her fear. "You can do this. Trust your instincts." Another pale figure emerged, a mirror of her own haunted visage, a twisting reflection of Jenna. Blood surged in her ears, and she could feel her mind splintering under the weight of everything that had been hidden from her. "No, no, no," she murmured, shaking her head violently. "I won't let you take me." With a burst of adrenaline, she surged toward the dark figure, her heart hammering fiercely against her ribcage. "Show me then. Show me the truth." The dark figure sneered, but as Jenna approached, something shifted in the air, trembling with eagerness. Her essence pulled them closer, the shadows and echoes entwined in a frenzy. For a flicker of a moment, Jenna caught a glimpse of what lay beyond the veil, a shattered world, echoes of long-forgotten screams and visions of betrayal painting the walls in grim shades. "Jenna, run!" her father shouted, breaking her trance, but it was too late. With a swift motion of his hand, the shadow surged, barreling toward her with dark, coiling tendrils. Jenna felt herself getting pulled in, the walls pushing down as she gasped for air. "What is it?" she screamed, panic rising. "What are you hiding from me?" She felt the darkness splay against her skin like a chilling blanket, embracing her, binding her. But beneath that fear, something sparked, a flicker of knowledge igniting in her core. And at that moment, as the darkness threatened to swallow her whole, she whispered, "If this is where my truth begins, then so be it." The shadows rumbled, and a voice, deep and omniscient, echoed in the void. "You have chosen unwisely, child. The truth. comes at a price. What were the depths of that price? As the darkness engulfed her, Jenna was propelled into an unimaginable reality, one that could change everything she thought she knew. And in the void, the chilling promise loomed. The truth wasn't ready for her, and neither was she for it. What would be the cost of knowing? The shadows held their breath, waiting for her response as the darkness awaited its reckoning. Jenna felt the cold tendrils wrap tightly around her, pushing against her chest and stealing her breath. She was caught in the abyss, every ounce of her being stretching for the light, clawing at the edges of her own fear. What is the price? She managed to choke out, her voice barely a whisper amid the consuming darkness. You'll have to confront all that your family has hidden, the figure intoned, its voice echoing around her like the haunting wail of a distant storm. Every lie, every sorrow, their echoes will be your echoes. Time felt suspended as Jenna's mind raced. A twisted road of memories unearthed themselves, pieces of forgotten truths surfacing through the heavy fog of lies. Her family, their furtive glances, those whispered conversations, each a breadcrumb leading to a familiarity she couldn't grasp. She was caught in the rippling currents of their history, this web of shadows closing tighter around her. She felt the weight of it all crashing down. I can't go back, Jenna breathed, determination igniting in her gut. I want to go back to being just a pawn in their secrets. I need to know. The shadows rippled with a palpable energy, and for the first time, she heard them hum not in discord, but in a haunting harmony that resonated with her very essence. An uneasy peace settled within her as she steeled her resolve. She braced herself for the unraveling, not just of her family's lies, but of her own existence. Very well, the cloaked figure murmured, the truth you seek will shatter you and rebuild you, but every step forward will cost you a piece of what you hold dear. In an instant, the shadows bulged forward, enveloping Jenna fully, and she felt the very threads of her reality stretch and pull, transforming around her. She saw flashes her mother as a child, laughing in a sunlit garden, but darkness bled into the edges of the scene, creeping closer until it swallowed her laughter whole. Then, another image flickered, her father, eyes ablaze with rage, standing over a man she didn't recognize, words of betrayal and anguish spilling forth like a tidal wave. It was suffocating, a collage of emotions that buried her in remorse and regret, the raw power of hidden histories crashing like wild waves against her. Jenna jolted backward and found herself back in the kitchen, breathless, a sharp gasp escaping her lips. The figure loomed before her, its eyes flickering with anticipation, fiery embers beneath a cloak of shadows. You've tasted a piece of the truth. Are you prepared for the rest? The rest? She echoed, feeling the threads of destiny tugging tighter. What other horrors must I uncover? As if on cue, the door creaked open fully, and the gust of wind brought in not only fresh air but chilling clarity. More figures poured in, family members, friends, all drawn towards her, their faces twisted in confusion and fear. Jenna, you need to leave. Her mother cried, desperation splashed across her features. No, Jenna shouted, voice ringing out. This ends now. I am not running or hiding anymore. The figure stood firm beside her, support surging through her. The moment hung, pregnant with uncertainty, and Jenna took a defiant step forward. Whatever it is you're afraid of, I can handle it. I will handle it. One by one, the figures in the room began to flicker like broken glass, revealing the shadows behind their masks. The inconceivable weight of generations past surged, and a familiar face solidified before her, a mirror image of herself, her long-lost twin, a sibling hidden away from her all these years. What have they done? Jenna whispered, heart crashing against her ribs. Everything to keep you safe, the twin replied, voice soft yet heavy. But at the cost of us, at the cost of knowing each other. Jenna's heart kicked in her chest as realization slammed into her. The burdens of secrecy had forged a chasm between them that was now begging to be bridged. You're real? A slow nod came from her twin, eyes glistening with unshed tears. The truth was buried to protect the family, but it deprived us of what we could have been. Now you must choose. What is the price of keeping this secret? What does it cost us all? With a sudden burst of clarity, Jenna understood what had to be done. She wasn't just breaking free of shadows, she was choosing to embrace them and face the light. "I will face the truth," Jenna declared, glancing at her family, faces etched in disbelief. No more lies. No more hiding. The air shimmered as she released a breath she didn't know she had been holding, and the shadows pulled back slightly, the dark veil parting. The figure gave a knowing nod, its sharp eyes filled with pride. The battle had only started, her journey was just beginning, but she wouldn't run from it. Her family's bonds could no longer be held together by secrets. It was time for transparency, for light to seep through the cracks. And as the truth enveloped them all, Jenna felt weight lift from her shoulders. "Let them hear my voice, let them understand," she murmured resolutely. "Together we will make sense of this." As new beginnings danced on the horizon, Jenna squared her shoulders, ready to walk the path forged from light and shadow, ready to uncover finally what it meant to be free. Now, it's your turn to think about how you engage with our journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm seriously, it makes a difference. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.